Let's talk about the price hike in petrol. Many Nigerians are feeling the pinch of the price rise. The pump price of petrol recently jumped from 897 naira to 1,030 naira per litre, causing concern among citizens and experts alike. Economists have warned that this hike could push more Nigerians into poverty, affecting businesses, trade, and daily life. They predict higher transport costs, rising food prices, and inflation, which could force some businesses to close. They urge the government to intervene, suggesting targeted incentives and cost-cutting measures. To discuss this now, we're joined by public affairs analyst Francis Chilaka. Francis, it's been a minute, and I know you're feeling the pinch as well. How do you see this recent hike affecting Nigeria's inflation rate and overall economic stability in the upcoming months?
Well, to be honest with you, I think that this government, with its policies, is bent on creating chaos in the land. Because Nigerians have been pushed too far. Nigerians have taken a lot. So whatever it is now, it is obvious that this government was not prepared ab initio, and this government is not a government that the people had wished for and hoped for. So what is playing out right now is that, the cost of everything has gone up. Nigerians are barely salary earners. They're just barely earning their salaries to be able to fuel their car, put food on the table, and then pay for electricity. So basically, Nigerians have been driven into abject poverty in such a way that people are not able to save anymore. So the hardship is getting chronic, and I hope and I pray it doesn't result into people looking for other means and survive.
I certainly hope that will not be the case. If you were to make suggestions, I know this is getting a bit tiring for a lot of analysts like yourself, but what immediate steps would you suggest that the government take to mitigate the negative impact of the rising fuel prices on small businesses and households?
Well, I'll say this to government, and I think it's the right thing for government to do. I would have thought that, bearing in mind that we have a refinery that is owned by a private entity, despite the fact that we have 4 that are not working, well, having one, I have thought that this government would set apart a certain percentage of the crude, to be given to the refinery to be solely refined for domestic use. And, Nigerians will only bear the cost of, having it refined, rather than this whole idea of selling crude to Dangote refinery. I had thought that there was a percentage kept aside for domestic use, and that percentage is not sold, but given to the refinery, and the refinery will give a cost for refining it. Obviously, that will bring down the cost of petrol. But, government is bent on playing the middleman. Government is bent on financing a moribund NNPCL, and government is bent on telling Nigerians, oh, we're not involved in this pricing and all of that. No sensitive government does that. And, the way it is, for me, I think that it is time that the government begins to look at options. And one of the best options is to ensure that whatever is consumed domestically is refined at cost for Nigerians.
Okay, one thought came to my mind as we were talking, and that's the submission by a cross-section of Nigerians for the immediate implementation of the minimum wage review, even as small as it is. What's your thought on that? Is it a possibility at this time, especially for states who had earlier shared concerns about their ability to meet up with the increment?
Well, the minimum wage for me is a fracas. The minimum wage, I don't know how Labour got into all that shenanigans, but, the minimum wage is not going to solve the problem of Nigerians today. It's not going to solve the problem of Nigerian workers, because even if you increase the minimum wage to 100,000, you look at the price of food items, you look at the price of electricity, you look at the price of petrol, it's still not sustainable. So it's not about minimum wage. It's about, taking steps to ensure that prices come down. If prices come down and you're paying a minimum wage of 70,000 naira, it makes a lot of sense. When they agreed on this 70,000 naira minimum wage, I'd come out, I'd said to government, give us a breakdown of this 70,000 naira, in terms of the housing, transport, electricity, break it down so that we know how much goes into each of these areas. If we know that, it will help us to also know how well government is doing in ensuring that people live a good life. So you can't give people 70,000 naira minimum wage and petrol is going for 1,150 or 1,100.
Since we're still facing tough times ahead, Francis, it doesn't seem like there's some glimmer of hope soon. But we'll have to see what happens in the coming days. Thank you for speaking with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.